Okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy day, happy day. Tomorrow, right? They love you tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Let's, I guess since we've got Rachel here, let's start with that. This is 20th Century School Facilities Act, Built to Learn revisions.
Is she here?
She needs a mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Rachel was.
Hi, everyone. So you have Senate Bill 551 with the reprint in front of you. Rachel is here for questions and obviously her expertise in this topic. Beginning on handwritten, page 9 of the bill. Essentially, as a starting point, the House struck the contents of the bill as it was sent over to them and replaced it with various technical and programmatic tweaks related to the Built to Learn Act that was overridden earlier this session. The first part deals with the Prince George's County P3 authority under the Built to Learn Act. Initially, and I've annotated it too so you can kind of follow along. So if basically the MOU that's required before they do a P3 has been altered to become a 4-party MOU by adding Maryland Stadium Authority as a party to that. On page 10, basically this is the contents of the MOU, and it needs to specify the terms under which each party will comply with the provisions. And then at the bottom and moving on, also dealing with Prince George's County P3, it extends the date, and you'll see this conforming changes in the next couple of pages, basically by adding 2 additional years for which they can enter into P3. Then the P3 is basically was subject to the approval of the IAC. This one, this amendment here in paragraph Roman 2 prohibits the IAC from unreasonably delaying approval of that. Then beginning at the bottom of that page and moving on to page 11 is just shifting by 2 years all of the terms dealing with the P3. At the bottom of page 11, this is striking a reporting requirement because we realize it's a verbatim repeat of one up above, so it's unnecessary. On page 12, this deals with the Healthy School Facility Fund, which was also part of the Built to Learn Act. It alters the use of the fund to include pipe insulation and roofs. It also deletes the cap for a single jurisdiction. This is due to additional funds were provided in the supplemental budget, such that this cap would have prevented schools from being able to use the money provided in the supplemental budget. And then in terms of Baltimore City, it requires the IAC to award grants as long as they're eligible, but to the projects that the city schools identifies. On page 13, at the top of the page, this deletes the authority for the Stadium Authority to hold certain funds in reserve for Baltimore City, and instead it requires them to transfer $10 million. You can see I also hand wrote in here some changes. This reflects the floor amendment that was adopted by the House. The next substantive provisions are on page 15. This deals with the Facility Assessment Committee, or the work group, in terms of what they need to consider and make recommendations on. The first one is they need to take a look at the local and state cost share split, given the changes in the blueprint for Maryland's future and the different wealth calculations and things like that that happen in there. They need to study any impact that should have on the cost share split. They also need to look at methods used to establish kind of the gross area, the total school size for eligible state share. You'll recall too, Built to Learn had a special fund that was put in to assist certain counties who have difficulty forward funding their projects. This is requiring the work group to look at the implementation of that special fund, as well as incentives to reduce the cost per student. And then in some of the special sections, moving down, basically in light of the work group reevaluating the cost share, Section 2 of the bill effectively freezes the state share so that it does not decrease below 2022 for 2 years. It also, in Section 3, allows the school size for certain schools to be based on a jurisdiction's enrollment projections. And then finally, Section 4 makes the bill an emergency measure.
Okay, so basically it does three things, right? Does some stuff for Prince George's, does some stuff for Baltimore City, and then it does some stuff for this facilities work.
Yep, does some stuff for the Healthy Schools facility and for the work group.
Okay. Anyone have questions? Senator Roosevelt.
Question, what is going to be the role of the Stadium Authority with the Prince George's program under the MOU? What's the concept by adding them?
Yep, Rachel, the question was, what's the role of the Stadium Authority in the Prince George's P3?
So the Stadium Authority has a couple of roles. They're required to review the P3 agreement, and they also are providing the funding. They're sort of the pass-through of the funding to the special fund that is going to fund the state's portion of the Prince George's P3 agreement.
Okay, thank you. Well, one other question, and we're adding them to the MOU just because they weren't added, they just weren't in the MOU before?
Right, they should have been in the.
I got you. I understand. And one comment, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah.
might. I just want to thank the House for at least keeping my name on the bill.
And with that, Senator Peters, you actually had the Built to Learn Act, didn't you? Would you like to take this to the floor?
Really? I think Senator,
No. Senator Peters will do a much better job.
Well, I'll let you guys hand wrestle over it and decide by the time it's over, or the time we leave here. All right, anyone have any further questions about this bill as amended? All those in favor? You have a question?
question for you.
Okay.
Can I go on this bill as a co-sponsor? I think it's a phenomenal bill in this posture.
Who would like to be on this bill? Anybody?
Whoa. Do we need to go to conference to put sponsors on?
Oh,
Your
that gets
motion
screwed. That
is
screws
to
it up.
concur,
Yeah,
not
sorry about
concur.
that. Yeah. Not for that. Not for that kind of amendment. Sorry. He is tricky, isn't he? All right. So I saw everybody approving that. All right. Thank you all very much. The three of you can figure out who's going to take it to the floor. You can fight it out in the back room. All right. Let's take up. So you have a new, which I believe is pretty close to final on the sports wagering. I think we have one real amendment, right? that we
Yeah,
need to do?
the only thing that the small group or that came out over the weekend was a concern over lottery's authority over setting lines for the sports betting operators. There's some language in the bill that talks about the how the lines are going to be set by the operators. There was some concern by the industry folks that it might go too far and allow the lottery to dictate what the lines on particular games are. And really, the way this should work is as money comes in on particular games, the lines would move based on how the betting public is perceiving the odds of the game, and it wouldn't be up to lottery. So the language, there was a suggestion to strike the language so that lottery wouldn't have that role as it applies to odds, lines, and the odds and the lines on the wagers.
Okay. Everything else should be like technical corrections and things
Correct.
that appears in this new copy. Okay, so now we can approve this as amended by this one amendment and the technical corrections. All those in favor? Okay, very good. All right, let's bring up Senator Rosa Pepps. We've got those two bills, those two P3 bills that EHE has already passed. And we have,
Maybe you want to say this publicly.
so we have those two P3 bills, the Senate and House versions. Senator Rosa Pepps' bill.
Yes, there's House Bill 485, which has come over from EHE. It's come over from the House, gone through EHE, and you are secondary on it. House Bill 485.
Okay.
And then it's got a cross file, which was Senate Bill 361, that is still in EHE, hasn't come up yet. The bill does a few things as it relates to public-private partnerships. Sets up.
Can we see it?
Sure, it should be on. Oh, I can make you a copy.
Would you please?
Yep.
What number was that for? 40, up to 45?
485, yeah. So we may have to make some movements on the floor with some of the bills that, you know, that we had, that we moved, sort of added bills onto other bills and things. We had one that related to noise at the airport. We had one that has to do with some what was the other one? You've got it, Senator Eckert. The 610 and I think 1255. It has to do with homeowners tax credit and stuff. We've bills that we've passed.
That's the first one.
And we have one more that we're trying to help with the judiciary. I don't know if you remember, every year there seems to be an issue with their IT funding, and we're trying to figure out a mechanism. They have some surplus funds right now, and if they can do a one-time transfer into their special fund, it's the Land Records Fund, then at least I believe it would be helpful, and hopefully we don't have to hear about the issue every year. I'm telling you all this because these are some stuff that could happen on the floor today, and I just want you all to be aware of it and not be caught off guard. Okay? I think we can go to this next bill, though.
House
If you're ready.
Bill 485. It's the Public-Private Partnership Review Board bill. It establishes a Public-Private Partnership Review Board that's going to be an extra level of review through the Public-Private Partnership process. In addition, it creates extra reporting requirements when you have a P3 that's valued over $500 million. It also requires a traffic analysis of the I-495 and the I-270 project before the P3 agreement can be submitted to the Board of Public Works. And then finally, there was an issue.
On that, is that kind of a study going to be done soon or after things get back to normal traffic? I mean, it's pretty well, I would say it's pretty close to normal now, but just curious as timing on that.
It says, the department has to complete and submit to the Board of Public Works a traffic analysis on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic
Okay.
and resulting increases in telework throughout the region on the traffic patterns and volume on I-495 and I-270 in Maryland. So it looks like the study is going to be looking at what the long-term effects may be of
Okay.
people
I'm okay with that.
teleworking.
Okay. Are you finished?
Yeah. Oh, no, there was one other piece of the bill that the House added on. There was a limitation on how the MDTA can collect people who don't pay their tolls. That Senator Mano had a bill in 2018. The bill is going to terminate on July 1st, so this bill was used as a vehicle to extend that limitation on MDTA using the central collection unit to collect unpaid tolls.
So it's already what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's continuing the current practice.
Okay. Senator,
Be in front of me. Are we working off of the House bill? There are no amendments that have been offered.
There are no amendments are being proposed. I can
Okay.
make you a copy.
wait, there is an amendment being proposed.
Oh, somebody needs to, there are no amendments that are in front of you. Somebody could make an amendment at this point.
I think Senator King has an amendment about the implementation of the bill, so that it would apply forward-looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that,
Senator King has an amendment that would say this only applies to procurements or P.
I just want to make sure that there isn't going to be anything in here, and I'm looking at it, and it's kind of sprung on me, so I haven't had a chance to digest it, but I want to make sure that there is nothing in here that is going to slow down the progress of widening 270. That's my biggest issue, and I can't tell by looking at that if it will or not, but I thought we weren't even doing this bill, and now we are, so.
I think obviously the language about needing a study before they can go to the Board of Public Works would create another step for the I-270 project. But
only in the next phase. Right?
With the amendment.
With the amendment we were talking about.
well, you still have this Section 3 reporting requirement.
Uh-huh.
That directly applies to the I-270, 495.
Okay, my advocates who are listening here are saying that this will kill 270.
Well, that's not what that's not what the Secretary just said to us.
Right.
Just to be clear. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do, because I'm not going to rush it. We're going to, if we come back and we have to vote, when we come back for
Okay.
the break.
I would just like to be sure.
I understand. You can call Secretary Slater again if you like,
Okay.
or have somebody call him.
All right.
Matt talk to him, do whatever you need to do. Senator Eckert?
Thank you very much. My understanding that this bill significantly alters the P3 process that I think we worked on real deliberately in the past, correct? So now it puts in several extra steps that then could delay and would delay current projects, as I understand it. So I guess I'd be interested in hearing what the Secretary has to say about that, because I know this body worked hard on that.
I think, and you're right, and I think one of the things that certainly has come up clearly is the purple line, and the problems that have come out of that, and I think a number of people, including myself, but a lot of people, obviously Senator Rosenpepper, are concerned that the P3, as much as we, like many pieces of legislation, we have to come back and revise every now and then to ensure that it's functioning correctly. Somehow that has gotten out of hand in a sense. And I know that the Secretary is doing a terrific job trying to pull it all back together, and have a lot of faith in that and in him. But it's still happened. And I think folks are concerned about the fact that that a P3 could fall apart like that.
Thank you very much, and I would agree. I have a lot of confidence in the current Secretary, too, and I would hope that whatever we work out everybody's in agreement with, because I would hate to see all of the work that and energy we put into this send a message that would interrupt the P3 process, because we know it can be a constructive, a useful tool, and if it needs tweaking, then let's mutually figure that out and tweak it, and then evaluate it again to make sure we've got a better process. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll hold that until,
Yeah, let me just ask one more question.
sure?
Is it possible to just replace the whole thing with a study and reconvening the task force?
I don't know. I guess we can bring it up with some folks, but,
Yeah.
yep, it's your bill, right.
It's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm okay with you. It sounds to me, based on this discussion and my understanding of the issues, that with the appropriate amendments, we can make this, which is the intent, be prospective, because we want to do P3s into the future, and we want them to be done well, we want them to be done better. And so I think if we can get the language right, I think it'll do that. So I would encourage us to try to, as the chairman suggested, kind of get reassurance for those who have concerns about it with the secretary and others, and see if we can put together language that would allow it to move forward in a prospective way.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, we'll see what can be accomplished by the time we get back. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Anything else? Yes.
If I can have a moment of your time. Okay, that is it. And the president said to make sure that we're there on time. So I will see you all on the floor.